Okay, so today we will go for the next concept. Okay, in the last video we had learned regarding the hemoglobin, okay, which is a transport protein of oxygen. So along with this, we had learned regarding the myoglobin. Okay, hemoglobin and myoglobin. So which is the oxygen transport. Okay, oxygen carrier or oxygen transport. Okay. So in the today's class we will go for the two effect here. So the hemoglobin is showing, that is the pH as well as Bohr effect. What do we mean by this pH? Effect of pH and Bohr effect. How the hemoglobin is going to respond for this pH as well as the Bohr effect. Okay. So, and today we will go for the difference between myoglobin as well as hemoglobin. So, what about this myoglobin? Myoglobin is a oxygen storer. Okay, it will store the oxygen. So, it will store the oxygen in muscular tissues. Okay, in muscular tissues. So, this is what. While hemoglobin we see it is obtained by hemoglobin we get in the RBCs. Okay, in the red blood corpuscles, and it is going to transport the oxygen from lungs to tissues. So it will transport from lungs to tissues of the bodies. Is it right? And see how this myoglobin is made up of. Myoglobin is made up of a single strand of the peptide chain. Okay. So this is myoglobin. Okay, where it is been present, iron is present here, and it is made up of single peptide chain, and it is going to store the oxygen in the form of like this, and with the angle of 105 degree. Okay, hemoglobin will have 130 degree angle here, while it binds the oxygen here, while myoglobin will bind the oxygen in the form of what? Monomeric, like this. This is what myoglobin, and that's why the molecular weight of this also is low. So 16,700 Daltons. So this is the molecular weight of the myoglobin. Is it right? And it is going to bind from single Fe+ ions, like a single strand in there. Whereas hemoglobin has 4. Is it right? In the last video we have seen that hemoglobin is going to bind with 4 strands here, and they are made up of one for alpha proteins and the beta strands of the proteins amino acids. 141 amino acids alpha, and beta strands we are having 146 amino acids. This is what about the hemoglobin, and that's why it has a large molecular weight. Okay. So here we are having a little less molecular weight because it's a monomeric myoglobin, and 16,700 Daltons. And how do they differ? It is also carrying the form of Fe+2. And how this differs, we can show it from the pH as well as the Bohr effect here. Is it right? So we go for the graph here. I am going to put the graph here. So this is what? This is saturated, fractional saturation of the hemoglobin or myoglobin. This is the oxygen. Rim of Hg. Okay, partial pressure of the oxygen versus saturated hemoglobin and myoglobin. We will go for the like this. Okay, so this is at pH 7 or 6.8. This is at 7.6. This is your myoglobin, and these two are your hemoglobin. Okay, so this is myoglobin, first one, and these two curves is the hemoglobin. So myoglobin is showing you which curve? It is going to show a hyperbolic type of curve here. So this is going to show hyperbola type of curve, and this hemoglobin is showing you sigmoid. So these two we are showing you sigmoid. Is it right? Now this is a scale. So partial pressure 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. Similarly here saturation 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. See, this is what. Now you can see here how does this cooperative binding and non-cooperative binding in the previous video we had seen here. Now you can see the myoglobin here. Okay, at 2 mm of Hg. At 2 mm of Hg. So you can see here. Okay, at pressure of 2 mm of Hg, if I take it here in this way, So like this. Okay. So you can see here the pressure, the myoglobin is storing. The affinity of myoglobin is very high. It goes on increasing here. Saturation point of the myoglobin and hemoglobin with respect to oxygen is very high. See here, straight line we can see here. That is very saturated, and then it comes to be here. If I take it here 100, so this is your lungs. Okay, 100 pressure of oxygen here. It's more in the lungs here. So you can see at 2 mm of air, when the pressure is very less, oxygen pressure is very less. The concentrated oxygen storing property of the myoglobin is very high. You can see very high. And it stores, and later it is coming to the constant graphically here. So what does this mean? The myoglobin has high affinity compared to hemoglobin. The same thing, to store hemoglobin requires how many pressure? See here, you can see here the same. If you want to store saturated with oxygen, so hemoglobin requires high pressure of around 20 to 25, 30 pressure of oxygen is required to store this here. But at low pressure of oxygen, myoglobin can store a huge amount of oxygen like this. Okay, and reverse is true. It will not release oxygen immediately, myoglobin. So as you decrease the pressure here, oxygen pressure has decreased. At 2 mm of like this, suddenly see it is not decreasing here. It is not leaving the oxygen here. But at 2 mm of HD, it will release the oxygen. It will release the oxygen. So at low pressure, it is absorbing the oxygen and storing it, and at low pressure only it is going to upload the oxygen. This is what about the myoglobin. That's why we say that it is a non-cooperative binding of oxygen. So for myoglobin we say it is a non-cooperative binding of oxygen, whereas in the hemoglobin we say cooperative binding. See, that's why sigmoid type is coming here. Okay, so that means for at pH you can see here 7.6 and here pH 6.8. So in lungs it is having the 100% of the oxygen, and at low pH you can see here at 25. So if I put here, so at 20, the saturation point you can see here, it is going to have the oxygen saturation point is it comes to be around 30. Okay, so here it is more here. But as the pH is increased here, so decreased here at 6.2 here, what will happen? There is carbon dioxide level is more here. So when it comes to tissues, the carbon dioxide level is more here. Okay, and what will happen here? At low pH, what will happen? Here? The upload of the oxygen by the hemoglobin is more. That means the saturation is very less. Okay, upload will be more here. Saturation is very less. Okay, so hemoglobin, what will happen? It will have a low concentration of oxygen here at lower pH. So at lower pH, hemoglobin is releasing the oxygen in the tissues. Okay, so here at low pH, it is releasing the oxygen. So here upload, here hemoglobin is uploading the oxygen here. That means it is giving the oxygen here at low pH, and here what is happening? Why? Because there is more carbon dioxide in the tissues, rest of the body we are having, and the tissues and cells where there is a low concentration of oxygen, or pH is less because of the carbon dioxide, and that's why what will happen here? The hemoglobin is going to release the oxygen at lower pH here because of the CO2 here, and that effect is called as a Bohr effect. So this effect is called as a Bohr effect. It is the reverse of cooperative moving, cooperative binding. In cooperative binding, what will happen? One hemoglobin will help for another hemoglobin to bind, the next hemoglobin to another, K1, K2, K3, K4. So this is what we have seen cooperative movement. But here what will happen? It is releasing the oxygen, whatever the bind oxygen is there, it is releasing the oxygen here at low pH. Okay, and what will happen? It will now carry the carbon dioxide in the form of H+. So there is generation of H+ will be there here in the tissues and all, and it will react with the carbon dioxide to give bicarbonate, HCO3. So that's why we said blood as a buffer movement, buffer system is being prevailed in the blood we said. So bicarbonate is there, again it will come to the lungs. When it comes to the lungs, what will happen? It will inhale the carbon dioxide, because what happens in the lungs? So again there is the more pH here. So carbon dioxide is released here, and there you can see the pH is high, 7.6, and the oxygen will be higher concentration in the lungs. And what will happen? The hemoglobin again will absorb more saturation. So more saturated hemoglobin will absorb that, and you can see unload will be there, upload will be there, and again it will go to different tissues and it will upload, it will release the oxygen there because of the lower pH. So this detaching of the oxygen, release of the oxygen at lower pH because of CO2 concentration and formation of carbonate here, bicarbonate, HCO3. So that effect we call it as a Bohr effect. So this effect we call it a Bohr effect. In recent in case at examination they had asked the Penrose mechanism. So that's one Penrose mechanism. This is what Penrose mechanism in case at examination. So this is what it explains. Penrose mechanism also explains the cooperative movement of the hemoglobin. So deoxyhemoglobin it will be large in size, like in the previous video we had seen. So deoxyhemoglobin. So what happens in deoxyhemoglobin? So you can see here, it is out of plane. This is a porphyrin ring, pyrrole nitrogen, which is making the porphyrin ring, and iron will be in the outside here like this. Okay. So this is how in deoxyhemoglobin. Deoxy, and this is the imidazole attached. Okay. So this is large size. Why? Because the iron is out of the plane. That is what we say. That is a deoxyhemoglobin, and that's why that is large in size. And upon binding with oxygen, what will happen when this will bind with the oxygen? This iron will come inside like this. Inside the plane. This iron will come inside the plane like this, and it is going to bind the oxygen. Okay, that means size becomes short. Okay, size becomes short, and it becomes what? Diamagnetic. From diamagnetic it becomes the diamagnetic. Is it right? Because of what? Oxygen ligand. So here the oxygen ligand will be in the singlet state. So what will happen? The oxygen ligand here will attain a singlet state. That means what? The delta S will be equal to 0 here. So total spin quantum will be 0 in singlet state. And in singlet state, oxygen acts as a very good strong field ligand. So oxygen acts as a very strong field ligand. So it will act as a strong field ligand, and it will make the electrons to pair up, and that's why in oxyhemoglobin it is diamagnetic nature. Why? Because the oxygen here, the gas here, is being in a singlet, not in a triplet. Okay, so this is what. So this is what about we can explain, and that effect, that cooperative movement in this that is called Penrose mechanism. So Penrose mechanism has related this, which I said in the examination, they are asked in case at examination. So this whole, I hope that you understood with respect to the pH here. So pH is very much important. Low pH, there is more concentration of carbon dioxide, and what we are observing here, yes, there is the releasing of the oxygen by the hemoglobin. So hemoglobin will release oxygen in here, and that's what happens here. So myoglobin is going to store the oxygen here at lower pH. So myoglobin is there, so it will take the it will take the oxygen here in this way. I can show here. See here. So hemoglobin will take 4 oxygen here, 4 moles of oxygen to give it to Hb 4 times. This is what happens. Okay, hemoglobin, and when it travels tissues. Okay, so myoglobin will be there. So what will happen here? It will give the oxygen to myoglobin in the tissues here, forming what now? Plus myoglobin. So you get here myoglobin, oxygen plus hemoglobin is this here. 1 molecule of oxygen is being taken by the myoglobin, and you can see hemoglobin. This is what happening here. This is happening here in the tissue here. So this is how the myoglobin is going to store the oxygen, and whenever it is required for metabolic activities, it is going to release myoglobin. Okay, whenever the metabolic activities for the body is required, this myoglobin is going to release the oxygen. So this is how we can explain with respect to the hemoglobin and myoglobin. So I said you that is one case, sickle anemia. Okay, sickle cell anemia. Sickle cell anemia. So this also with respect to hemoglobin here. What will happen here? Sickle cell anemia is a type of disease. It's a type of disease here. So what is happening here? So it is we call it as a hemoglobin deficit. Okay, so we know that hemoglobin is made up of what? Hemoglobin is made of iron strands here like this. Okay, so this is how the hemoglobin is made, and it is attached by oxygen. Each will attach the oxygen in this like this. Okay, and they are having the different amino acid strands here. So this is alpha amino acids, and here we can see beta. Okay, so 141, 146 amino acids, 141 and 146 amino acids they are made for. So here what happens in beta, so this will be right, alpha amino acids will be right. In beta strands, okay, there is erratic change in this beta strand here. So one of the amino acids, that is valine, okay. So one of the amino acids is valine, okay. So it is being replaced for glutamate. Okay, so it is going to replace the glutamate. Valine is going to replace the glutamate. One of the amino acid, that is glutamate, is being replaced by the valine here. So that's what makes the hemoglobin as this. Okay, and what happens when this happens? So this will decrease the solubility of hemoglobin S. Okay, so this hemoglobin S valine, when this happens, when the beta strand, so one of the amino acid is replaced by valine, glutamic amino acid is replaced by valine. So what will happen? It is called as hemoglobin S. Okay, so what is the role of this hemoglobin S? So it will decrease the solubility of hemoglobin, deoxyhemoglobin. So what will happen when it decrease the solubility of deoxyhemoglobin? It precipitates, okay, in fibrous form. So it is going to precipitate in the fibrous form, here, and that will deform the RBC. So this precipitate and it will deform the RBC, and it is going to look like a sickle. In the agriculture, they are using in sickle form. So it is used in the form of sickle like this. So in the agriculture, we are using that sickle to plow the land. So that is what in the RBCs they are going to form in the form of sickle. So that disease we call it as what sickle cell anemia. Okay, so that is what the HBS. So just one amino acid sequence is being replaced here. So valine replaces glutamic acid, and you can going to see that sickle cell anemia disease is going to happen in the case of hemoglobin. So in one case, one more thing is there here. In one case, you can see here. So what will happen in one of the case? You can see that one hemoglobin here. So hemoglobin, in one case, you can see that the conversion of Fe2, okay, to Fe plus 3. So this is what been avoided by the globin protein, as we said here. So globin protein is what is avoiding. So it's a hydrophobic in nature, globin protein, and it protects the oxidation of Fe plus 2 to Fe plus 3. And that's why in oxy and deoxyhemoglobin, iron is present in plus 2 state only. Why? This is because of the globin protein, which is hydrophobic in nature, and it avoids the oxidation of Fe plus 2 to Fe plus 3. But even there is a few Fe plus 2 is converted to Fe plus 3 by water. Okay, because of H2O present in the blood, so there is few Fe plus 2 is converted to Fe plus 3, and that hemoglobin we call it as a methemoglobin. So we call that as a methemoglobin. They are called as a methemoglobin. So what about this methemoglobin? Methemoglobin is useless, I can say. So it will not transport oxygen. Okay, this is not going to transport the oxygen. So methemoglobin will not going to transfer the oxygen. In adults, we can say that there is an enzyme called methemoglobin reductase. Methemoglobin reductase. So there is an enzyme called methemoglobin reductase. So it will reduce again Fe plus 3 to Fe plus 2, and that's why our mechanism of the body is going on. Okay, so we are having the very nice transportation of the oxygen by the hemoglobin. But in children, okay, kids, we call it as a blue baby syndrome. So we call it as a blue baby syndrome. So I think you have heard this. This is a blue baby syndrome. So what will happen in children? That's why it's called baby. So in children, what we see that this Fe plus 2, which is converted to Fe plus 3, so methemoglobin. Okay. So here, because the children have very less acid inside the stomach, so they fail to convert. The enzyme is not so much developed in the children. They fail to convert this Fe plus 3 back to Fe plus 2. Back to Fe plus 2. So that's why the oxygen transport to all the tissues and all, it is lacking in the children, and that's why some bluish type of color they are going to observe near the nails or near eyes or like this, and that's why that disease we call it as a blue baby syndrome. So this is how some of the aspects, some of the points which is concerned with the hemoglobin and myoglobin. Is it right? So finally, if I go for the summary. Finally, how the iron is going to bind finally, so you can see here. So Iron 2 is there here, so it binds with oxygen to give you iron oxygen. This is a porphyrin ring. Okay, so this is what a porphyrin ring. This is the porphyrin ring. This is the first one. Now what happens in second? This iron 2, okay, which is going to bind will react with another iron 2 to give you iron. So it is going to give you iron. So in the step 3, what will happen? This iron 3, okay, will form iron 4. And last step you can see here, this iron 4 will react again with Fe+2 to give you. So this is how we can show that the binding of the oxygen to the hemoglobin it takes place in the different way. That's what I said you. Oxygen in the previous video that we have shown that oxygen binding to the protein in the 3 ways. That is what oxygen, then peroxides and superoxides. So this is the peroxide image. This is the peroxide image. This is the peroxide image. So out of this 4 mechanism of binding, the first one is valid. So first one, maximum 90% of binding will take place from the first, and this 3 is not so important. They are not important. They are not important. But they are going to form like intermediate type. But finally, this is the correct way of the mechanism. So here today we have learned regarding the hemoglobin, myoglobin, then Bohr effect, what Peros mechanism, okay, and the different summary of how they are going to bind, graphical presentation. Okay, so this is what whatever the requirement is there, okay, for competitive examinations and all this type of questions. So I have covered maximum for the myoglobin as well as the hemoglobin aspects. Okay, in the next video we will see about the next oxygen transport in invertebrates. So this is about this is found in the vertebrates as well as invertebrates also, no doubt, hemoglobin. But the next concept what we'll learn in the next video, that is hemierythrin and hemocyanin. So that is particularly in the invertebrates. Okay, so in Arthropoda phylum. So how the oxygen is transported in invertebrates, marine invertebrates, that we are going to see in the next videos. Hope you all understood or enjoyed this hemoglobin transport as well as myoglobin and the just to see the graphical sigmoid and all. So you will come to know how the oxygen is released at low pH and how the hemoglobin will absorb the oxygen at the high pH, 7.8 pH. So that effect is called Bohr effect. That just if you see the graphical and understand that with respect to the saturation, fractional saturation of hemoglobin and myoglobin versus partial pressure, mm of Hg, millimeter of Hg, it has been expressed, partial pressure of oxygen. So very nicely we can understand the role of myoglobin as well as hemoglobin, and that's why hemoglobin, how cooperatively it will bind the oxygen, and myoglobin non-cooperatively, because it is not uploading and releasing very nicely. It will have definitely high affinity for oxygen in myoglobin, but release and uploading and unloading the oxygen is very I can say difficult for myoglobin than the hemoglobin. So uploading and unloading of the oxygen is very smart in hemoglobin. So that is what we learned in this today's class. Okay, in the next class we will see about the hemierythrin and okay. Have a nice day. Thank you.